In the Pits is partnered with 71 Designs, owned and operated by veteran Wade Martin, and partnered with fellow Texas brand Compete. 71 Designs can take your ideas for soft goods, merchandise, and casual wear and make them a reality. Message 71 Designs on Facebook or Instagram to get started today. In the Pits is partnered with Podrunners Union. Podrunners Union breaking news. Super limited Union Tech tees and, for the first time, Fiesta medals are available online at podrunnersunion.org. Use offer code PITS for 10% off of your order. Stealing pods for undeserving teams. It's a living. In the Pits is partnered with Mariachi Águilas de Oro. Based in Austin and servicing the surrounding areas, these Golden Eagles will bring life to any event you are having, from birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, corporate events, or even a simple performance to enjoy. Guillermo Padilla, one of their trumpet players, is also a member of the Texas paintball scene. Visit them on Facebook and Instagram to check out some of their past performances, or give them a call to book them for your event today. In the Pits is partnered with Skull Monkeys Paintball. Equip, engage, excel. In the Pits is partnered with XTPL Events. The Extreme Tournament Paintball League is a series put on by the Lukow family of Paintball Fit fame that gives the opportunity for players to learn and grow together as a team. 3-man, Challengers and Champions X-Ball, Draft Mech X-Ball, and even Youth 3v3. There's something for everyone at XTPL. Not to mention prize tosses, raffles, and the infamous paintball munching contest. Events happen throughout the year, and the prizes never disappoint. Sign up for an XTPL event today on PB Leagues. In the Pits is partnered with Hydra. Designed by players for players, you can outfit yourself in Hydra gear from head to toe. Have confidence that when you make a purchase from Hydra, you are purchasing a well-tested and well-thought-out product, trusted by several top teams, including first-place semi-pro team PaintballFit.com. I personally recommend their Hydra Black knee pads. Purchases over $100 receive free shipping. Head to hydra.fit to browse their selection and discover the Hydra mentality. In the Pits is partnered with BEM Wraps. Behind every mask is a unique and creative player. Tap into it when you order your next custom headpiece. Their Build-A-Band lets you communicate with them one-on-one to make your order just the way you want, all the way down to the color of the stitch. Check out their Instagram at BEMWraps for drops and build videos of them working on orders. They offer very competitive pricing, so reach out today to get started on your own one-of-a-kind headpiece. In the Pits is partnered with Compete. Compete is a Texas-based brand by Jell Stewart of professional team AC Diesel that provides custom jerseys, pants, headbands, straps, tech shirts, and any other soft goods to help individuals and teams compete at the highest level. Support Texas Paintball and message Compete on Facebook or Instagram and mention In the Pits Podcast for 10% off your entire order. In the Pits is partnered with Get Dat Shot. Get Dat Shot now offers first-in-line photo and video editing, 20% off Get Dat Shot merch, and 20% off prints to all teams that wear the Get Dat Shot logo on their jersey. Message GetDat_shot on Facebook or Instagram to become a Get Dat Shot program team. In the Pits is partnered with Paintball Kumite. Paintball Kumite is a program designed by Colt Roberts of professional team San Antonio X Factor to take paintball players of all ages, experience levels, and skill groups and mold them into champions. The program breaks the game down into small, easy-to-learn sessions designed to help you master the fundamentals so that you can elevate your game. Newcomers to the program get a free 1-hour introductory class when mentioning In the Pits. To sign up for a class, message at Paintball Kumite on Instagram.
Drinking water all day at your tournaments and still feel tired? What if we could hydrate you from the cellular level? At BioWorks Mobile IV Service, our licensed professionals understand what it takes to get through a long day of exercise. We use all natural vitamins to increase hydration, recovery, and prolonged athletic endurance. Help your team get to the podium. Book now by texting the number on your screen or calling today. Call 972-948-8207 to book now. That's 972-948-8207. BioWorks. Hydrate, win, repeat.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 87 of In the Pits Paintball Podcast. This podcast is focused on everything that has to do with the paintball scene here in Texas, from professional players and teams to new divisional programs, local tournament series, field owners, Texas-based brands, even photographers and videographers. Every week, we'll have a short and sweet episode with a new topic and a new special guest. I'm Christian Dallas Smith. I'm a player for the Texas Titans. This episode, we have a roundtable discussion with a few of the top podcasters in all of paintball. We're joined by Ryan Greenspan of the Spicka&Span show. If you're looking up on YouTube, you got to include that A. Tyler Harmon and Marcelo Margott of Play the Game podcast. Ryan Gray of the Coaches Show, and Ryan Moffitt of From the Sidelines. Gentlemen, how are you all doing this evening?
Doing well.
Absolutely. Excited to be here, brother.
Yeah, should be a fun time. It's we're gonna have to use nicknames or something because there's gonna be a lot of confusion when hey Ryan, what was your thought on that?
Yeah, it's definitely the Ryan show tonight. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. This question's brought to us by XTPL Events. So we're just gonna go around and introduce ourselves. So for anyone out there listening, maybe they don't know so much about you. So yeah, introduce yourself, how long you've been podcasting, and generally like what either the focus or the format of your show is, whether it's like interviews or maybe you do current events, things like that. So let's go ahead and start with Coach Gray.
I'm Ryan Gray. I've been podcast. We've had the show since like 2 weeks before World Cup, so not too long. I think we're at episode 17. The focus for the show is kind of revolved around coaches and coaching and philosophy and strategy. Now that we're into the season, we'll dig more into game film stuff, where we'll bring in games and break them down, things like that.
Awesome. Let's go to Moffitt.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Ryan Mafia Moffitt on Instagram, also the host and kind of creator of From the Sidelines. That's our show. We like to have a blast. We like to have fun. Our show, we talk about paintball, but the way that we say it is it's a podcast by paintball players. So it's going to be in our discussion, but not every single episode is always going to be, about layouts, X's and O's, event stories. We're, trying to tell other stuff, current events, stuff that's going on. And then obviously paintball is going to be thrown in the mix quite a lot. So yeah, we kind of like to have fun over there.
For sure. Let's go over to Greenspan. Oh, Greenspan, I think you were muted.
Of course, the Spick and Span Studios has no audio.
You gotta unmute yourself.
Oh, Greenie.
Is it on your mic?
No, it looks like he's not muted.
Yeah, you're not muted on Discord. It might be, we cannot hear you.
Though.
It's working just a second ago.
All right, Marcelo, take over. You're on.
Skip him. Yeah. My name is Marcelo Margott, play for San Diego Dynasty and co-host of Play the Game podcast with my boy Tyler. We got started in 2020, early 2020. It was about a month before Ryan started his show with, Spick and Span show.
Yeah, you had to do that.
Can hear me now? Right now. Oh, there he is.
Now he can talk.
It's weird. My phone keeps connecting to it. Do your guys' phones, like, it randomly connects as like the microphone and the camera?
Mine has been trying to do that. You have to
deny it. And I'm like, it just like keeps beeping, and then as soon as it does that, it takes over everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, Marcelo's taking my intro here.
Yeah.
After you, please.
No. You've already gone. I was my lips were just moving.
we're pretty much done.
Yeah. So anyway, same thing. Sorry, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I had to disconnect my phone. It's just plugged in over here. I don't understand this technology, man.
See, it's true to you're always in character. Always
That's right. Yeah, never break character. Never break character. You missed the whole intro before this when I was on here and everything was working and Ty couldn't figure out the Discord.
No.
And I breathed a very great sigh of relief that it wasn't just me having technical difficulties.
We got it handled in time. That's I don't know.
You can't disconnect, man. What is going on here?
Oh no.
Is it happening?
Oh no.
Yeah, so it's actually been incredibly successful. It's called the Spick and Span Show. We had to do a little rebranding, throw an A in there because Apple Podcasts did not like our original name. But yeah, we're live every Tuesday at 4 p.m. We started, I think we'll get to all that.
Yeah.
Later on.
Yeah, for sure.
Everything here, Apple.
What up, everybody? Tyler Harmon, played for Houston Heat, father of two, husband, and hardworking paintball player. We got the Play the Game podcast, really successful show that we built in 2020. And we focus on just empowering the culture of paintball, trying to connect the dots and get paintball to new eyeballs. That's our mission. We want to get paintball on as many eyeballs as possible. So Marcelo and myself have been working diligently on that. We have our shows at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. And you can check it out at ptgpodcast.com if you haven't already, and support over there. Yeah, we're just focused on the love of the game. It's all love for paintball, and it's for the culture of paintball. That's what the mission is.
Love it. Yeah. And I guess for anybody who's coming to the show for the first time, I'm Christian Smith. I'm the host of this show, the In the Pits podcast, usually focused on individuals in Texas, whether it's like players or brands, field owners, media guys, basically all parts of the scene, not just on the field. I've been going, this is episode 87. Starting a new streak. I went 86 weeks in a row, and then last week just had to take a little bit of time off because I know better than to host an episode during Valentine's Day. So, but yeah.
Smart man.
So yeah, let's get into this. This question's brought to us by Skull Monkeys Paintball. So let's go around. What was it that inspired each of you to start your podcast, and what would you say are your current goals or your mission statement for your shows? So let's start with Tyler for this.
We were inspired by the pandemic of 2020 when we were not sure what was going to happen to paintball. We weren't sure if we were going to be able to play paintball for a long time, and we just couldn't take that reality. So we were like, we got to find a way to get in the game somehow and feel like we're still a part of playing paintball and being on the field and talking about this. So we just kickstarted PTG, and it was a rough start in the beginning. I think episode 1, I locked my wife and kids out of the house and had to run over there, and then came back to the show, and we had Bojangle stuff everywhere. The setup was just crazy, but we've just been working hard at it. We have a really great team. Shout out to young Stevie and everybody that's a part of PTG World. There's so many different people that make the show come to life, so we're super grateful for all of them. Our mission statement is that, or what was the second part?
Yeah, either your mission statement or your goals for your show.
The mission statement is to the moon. We're headed straight to the moon. We're going to be at some point rallying to get a spaceship and launch out to outer space and record an episode from the moon or around the moon. So that is the goal in the mission statement.
Love it. Marcelo, you got anything to add there? Oh, now Marcelo's the one
you're
muted. Here we
muted.
go.
Here we go.
All right.
There's a curse going on tonight.
Oh, shit, eat shit.
Now Greenspan, I guess you get to take over at this time.
Yeah. I'm just trying to rub off. My mission statement is to rub off any of my bad luck.
Okay, all right. We can just stop him right there.
You guys just
what's
went.
so funny? What's so funny is the very first thing I said was, "I think my mic is muted," because I got that pop up on my phone and I looked down and I was like, "Oh no, there's like 2 buttons." I'm like, "Which way do I go here? I don't know what to press."
Choose your own adventure.
I was like,
Pause or
I gotta
disconnect.
be, yeah, exactly. I'm like, I think I've been good this whole time, so maybe I shouldn't pause or disconnect. But then I was like, maybe something just popped up and I have to pause or disconnect. I clicked it, and then I noticed, when someone would talk, their thing would go green. So I did a little test, and it didn't go green. And then of course you called my name next. I was like, I think I'm muted. Eat it. I was fumbling in the background trying to get back to the mic settings.
He can see when it goes mute too. He knew. He was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
that's funny,
gotcha."
dude.
I like
That's
how
too
we're
funny.
the group of professionals for this. You know, like
Yeah.
we're doing this at a high level, guys.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
we're off to a
Well,
great start.
to be totally fair, we don't do any video stuff in Discord. We use a different platform, but this platform is great. We use it for a lot of other things. You know, our PTG community is built out of the Discord. Love it, but clearly need some work in the video area here.
that is a little bit of an oversight there when your phone can just randomly hijack the entire feed when it's sitting on the table. What kind of technology is that?
I don't know. Me and Christian have recorded a whole 2-hour show on it, and we had no problems of the sort. But I don't know. Maybe we're just under 30. That could be the whole thing. I don't know.
Also, you have to remember we're paintball players. That's what we do.
Good
We're
point.
paintball players.
Yeah. Pick up
We're
gun,
we're
shoot
doing
all
our
pods,
best.
go
We're
back,
doing our
get
best.
more.
Yeah, we're doing our best.
Oh yeah, guys. I mean, Greenspan, were you answering the question? Or I mean, the host of me wants to take over. There's dead air.
Yeah, go for it. I kind of forgot. I think what the mission statement is. I mean, we just kind of started similarly to how PTG did. We did it in the video side of things. It actually was just kind of there was a lapse in content creation at the time, and we're heavily involved with BKI. And so Anthony kind of reached out and said, "Hey, just kind of want someone to just touch base with the paintball community. Anything you can do at home." So it actually started with like BKI fireside chats or something like that. I think back in like early April, late March of 2020, probably. And we were just kind of like doing stuff on Facebook Live randomly. After about like almost a year on Facebook Live, I think someone reached out and was like, "Hey, you should do this on YouTube, and you guys can monetize it, and like people can interact more frequently and more easily." And then just the Facebook Live platform, you just don't have a lot of access to a lot of stuff. So, and then we just kind of launched it onto YouTube, and that's been we're at 180 episodes on that one because we do one a week. And I don't recall exactly how long, but we're pretty good at sticking to one a week, you know, because there are two of us that host it. And it's like one person can do it without the other if need be, or we can just kind of call in on our bootleg little picture in picture. I mean, this is fancy, but we like the old version, which is just like an actual camera pointed at a screen, pointed back at us. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, it's just been a really fun kind of opportunity. I mean, we just do it to connect with everybody, stay relevant, have fun. Nothing scripted. We just kind of like throw it out there. Halfway through the rambling, we just kind of like, maybe we should call somebody. So yeah, we're just having fun with it.
Love it. All right, let's go to Mafia.
Well, yeah. I mean, kind of, I mentioned in the intro a little bit from the sidelines. It's a little bit different from, these guys' shows. Obviously, none of us are pros. I'm in pro media, so I'm around that world a lot, but I actually don't go on the field. I don't compete against these guys. And the guys who are on our show, they're kind of still in that, coming up. They're playing in semi-pro and they're going on their second season now. So it is kind of cool to have that perspective and kind of hear, a different side of the NXL field that, I think is talked about a bit, and it's getting talked about more and more, especially with, guys like Wrecking Crew. They're starting to come up and try to talk all their shit now, and good for them. But yeah, let's see what happens this year. I think semi-pro is going to be a blast this year. But getting away from the topic at hand, mission statement of From the Sidelines has always been kind of trying to show people in different lights. When you see your traditional, like we had Dan Napoli on last week, everyone wants to ask him about One Night in November 15 and Iron Kids. Well, let's get his perspective on, Super Bowl production and, how to relate that to where we are in paintball and try to show his, talents and kind of expertise to ways that relate to our sport and we can bring back. But, they're different than what may be talked about on, the other paintball podcasts out there.
For sure. Coach Gray.
That's awesome. I love Dan. Yeah. So the real idea from the show came about from Mike Bianca, coach of the New Orleans Hurricanes, and I having conversations that would last like an hour on the phone. And I was like, man, this would be good shit to share with people. Like, as we were just talking about concepts around the field and how we were developing our practice routines and what preparation looked like. And then we started kind of doing some pre-show things, pre-tournament shows with Major League Paintball. They mentioned that they were trying to increase views on their YouTube channel and anyway, I kind of took that and started trying to develop maybe a show around it and pitched it to Mike. He didn't really want to do it at first. And then I actually wrangled Matty Marshall into just congratulating him that we were doing a show. So he kind of got hooked into it because he still hadn't told me yes. And then we really also were trying to, Vince had gone away. Vince Cunningham at Let's Talk Paintball at that point, which of course he's gone again, but he had kind of gone away. And so we were trying to figure out a way to like wrap some news into the show. So it's like the mission of the show's kind of evolved a bit, just simply because we found that doing things in post-production the way that we do, we'll film like on a Tuesday or Wednesday night, and then we don't put the show out until the following Tuesday. So the news or whatever we've shared or gotten shit is old by the time the show airs. So really the mission for us is just to leave paintball in a better place than when we came in, right? Like at some point we're going to go away. We want it to be in a better place. And when we talk about it in a better place, it's giving resources and giving people access to information to help them participate at a higher level. Not just that paintball's on TV or whatever the thing is, the goal that people are trying to get to or the league is trying to get to, but more that just there's more information, more access. I think what the guys, I think all three of these guys are with BKI. I think that information is fantastic. It's awesome. We're doing something similar, but more just directly toward coaches. I think players can get a lot out of our show too, but we do focus more on coach mentality and those kind of things.
For sure. Yeah. So for this show, the goal was, I mean, at the time, which was just under 2 years ago now, the Texas regional scene felt very disconnected from each other just because Texas is such a big state. It's very difficult to get a lot of crossover from like Dallas to San Antonio or Houston to the Valley or to Lubbock. There's a lot of really talented pools, but they're all pretty separated. So my goal there was just to go, hey, we need to connect the state of Texas and also get these stories out on people doing really cool things, not just on the field, but it could be like someone who's starting up a youth division team, or it could be a camera person, or Clint Riddle, or, guys like JC Lamone, Uno's Jerky, who's selling jerky that each flavor is named after a different team in Texas, things like that, where the stories aren't necessarily like, they might not get as many clicks, but they're still doing really cool things to contribute to the community. So I just wanted to get all of those stories out there and get Texas a little bit more unified. And I think, now that we're here, it's definitely accomplished the goal, or it's starting to bring together Texas a little bit more. Yeah.
Shout out to Texas, baby. Let's go. And imagine if every single state had something like that, like every pocket of paintball had something like that. That's the goal, really. I mean, and we're all doing a phenomenal job with each of our crafts. So hats off to everybody here, because we're all working our butts off to keep giving people valuable information for the game, which is what we need more of. And we've seen tons of it come into paintball, which is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
No, and I feel like all the time I'm starting to hear, a new show that I've never heard of before. And it's like, hey, episode 24 is tonight. And it's like, all right, I'll go check out what your show is. All right, cool, man. What are you talking about over here?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more media that's popped up in paintball as a whole in the last probably 6 months. It's been crazy, the social media boom that we've been a part of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this next question is brought to us by Pod Runners Union, which I know Tyler and Marcelio might know him as Papa Shosh. Yep. So yeah, let's talk about the process each of us went through when we were starting up our shows. So things like, creating accounts on different platforms, the different equipment and software that you had to buy or download, figuring out your formats or styles, things like that. And then if you have any suggestions for someone who is maybe interested in starting up their own show. So let's start with Moffitt on this one.
Okay. So account creation, I mean, obviously you're going to need somewhere to post your podcast. We use Spotify, their backend, to kind of host all of our audio side. and then videos on YouTube. So, look into, there's a couple different ones. Podbean, Spotify has a really good program. Buzzsprout, there's a couple others I've vaguely heard of, I don't know as much about. So yeah, see if, they have some type of, what's the right way to say it? Like features and stuff that you're kind of looking, to use. Like one of the reasons we like Spotify, it allows us to put the video version on a mobile app. So that's awesome for us. So we kind of chose to go there. So pick where you want to host it and all that stuff. Obviously, social media is going to help. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, having a presence everywhere helps point towards anywhere on the internet. So, showing reels of it somewhere is going to help people actually find it on YouTube or, Apple Podcasts or any of that stuff eventually. Gear wise, you don't need anything crazy. Ryan has proved that, or Greenspan's proved that with his show. You just show up and start, and that's really all it is. The more you do it, obviously, you'll want to start kind of getting pieces here and there. Having a good mic is nice, but you really don't need it at the beginning of the day. I have a Shure SM7B. I love this thing. It's a freaking tank. I'm probably gonna have it for years. I use a Go XLR interface. It just allows me to throw this XLR mic into my computer. So yeah, there's other examples of that stuff, like the Rode Podcaster. I know they make one. There's, a lot of things that you can kind of dive into and see, what you want to do. If you want to have soundboard effects, clapping, stuff like that, it lets you do all this different type of stuff. So yeah, check out, there's, YouTube tutorials. That's how I learned all of it myself. So, check out, if you heard someone talking about a piece of product, look it up and see, what the benefits of it are. And then I guess from there, yeah, that's kind of all the gear wise stuff. Figuring out individual styles, that's just going to come with time. From the sidelines, if you've been with us since the beginning, you'll notice that, 2 of our original hosts are no longer with us, and we have a new, third host. He's been around for quite a while now, but that original form just didn't work. We didn't have the right kind of, personalities working together. And now that we do, we've had 62 shows in a row since then, and we haven't looked back. So once you do find it, it'll click and it'll start to work, but don't be afraid to change things up. If at first it's not, if you're just having a hard time recording an hour of talking with this guy, maybe, bring someone else in, maybe see if, some other topic or other, tool that you can use to get a better flow of conversation.
Sweet. Marcelo?
You could pretty much just copy and paste that. That's pretty much the exact, kind of thing. I think Google was our best friend, YouTube, watching videos. Like Tyler said, we're paintball players at the end of the day. We had no clue what we were about to get ourselves into. I think we went on, Amazon and got our first mics for $60. We just wanted something that kind of looked cool and was a little better than the computer microphone. I don't even know if it was better than the computer microphone, but it looked official. So, that was a big part of it. We used that Buzzsprout that Ryan had mentioned. And, early on, we were really excited about just the ease of use. It was really easy to have the podcast, the show uploaded across all platforms. We would separately upload it to YouTube. Somebody out of the UK, shout out to Chris Stone. He's one of the Planet Eclipse guys. He helped us with all the artwork early on for thumbnails, which was incredible. He just did it out of the passion. He kind of shared a similar passion and enjoyed being part of it. We obviously didn't know how to do any of that. That was all self-taught towards the second half of PTG. There is, just learning how to design YouTube thumbnails and different artwork and graphics for Instagram and all that kind of stuff. But Buzzsprout had a really cool feature early on where you could clip parts of the show and it would download this little 60-second or 30-second, whatever you wanted, up to a minute clip, and it was Buzzsprout branded and you could change the color. So we would make these specialized PTG color ones, but they still didn't look that great, but it got the job done. So we'd share that to social media. That obviously has evolved, bringing on young Stevie. He's incredible, does a great job with the reels now. And, all of us, I see all the different shows have the really nice reels with the, text that, is showcasing what you're saying and all that. Which I think is incredible. You see some of the traction that those get. I think that's huge. It's a whole nother world for getting our content out there. Social media is you guys know, especially you, Moffitt, you have a huge following. right? And you're exposing people that maybe, don't know what paintball is or have never heard of it. And they stumble across an Instagram profile and they're like, oh, this looks kind of cool. Or they stumble across a reel. So yeah, again, copy and paste, added on a little bit there, but we're constantly trying to improve. And
well, I think something great to add on there is like different types of content on Instagram, like not just having clips of your show. One of the things that we've seen that's done the best for us on the From the Sidelines, like podcast Instagram, is memes, is funny stuff, stuff either that we talked about in podcast, stuff that's relevant to what's going on in paintball, just because it makes people laugh. It draws them in. They want to go see what was the account that made that. And, it's just another tool that maybe, if you don't have the best quality, audio and video, cool. Show people that you're creative and that you can bring them in another way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's so true. And then I just want to say one suggestion for anybody looking to get involved with creating media is there's never going to be a perfect time. You just got to do it. You just got to say, I'm tired of waiting, and just do it. Just jump in, start looking at, like we talked about, YouTube or whatever information you can, find a pathway and just stick to that path. And you have so many people around you that you can use to give you good information as well. So if you ever need help, reach out to one of us. We can help you and make sure that your dreams become a reality as well. But you just got to stop thinking about it and just jump, just go.
100%. Yeah. Greenspan?
Yeah. I think that's a great piece of advice. You kind of like made a quip about it earlier about our show, and it's totally true, man. You don't really need stuff. All you do need a computer if you're depending on what platform you're gonna do. If you're just gonna do a podcast, though, you just need your phone. You don't need anything special. Literally, the mic in your phone is really, really good, and you just need a quiet environment, and then someone on the other end of it, or just talk about what you like and then post it. But I think one of the biggest things that you need to have is you gotta have a little gumption, man. It takes a long time for the wheels to start turning. I mean, you're gonna be posting stuff and getting no traction for a long time, and this goes for any type of content creation. What you think is really cool and are passionate about doesn't always hit the mark for everybody else. So like you can spend tens of thousands of dollars on gear and just be talking about some BS that no one really cares about. Or you can have a cell phone or just literally a voice recorder that you can digitize with your computer later, talking about some of the most interesting stuff. So it doesn't matter how much money you spend. But what you really need to do is you just need to stick with it. And I applaud everybody for doing that. And I've always said it about, even on the vlog side of things, like Ronnie Dizon and how he just constantly puts out content that's like curated content. He does such a good job with that. And that takes a lot of effort, man. I mean, what we do is easy. We talk to our buddies live for an hour, no post-production or very little post-production. And then we just disseminate it out, right? Like, so I say just keep at it is one of the biggest things. Buy whatever mics you want. I mean, we upgraded our computer, and that was a godsend because we do everything live. We had the cameras we had were too powerful for the computer we were running. So we've hit a ton of snags. But I mean, I've just used our MacBook, and shout out to everybody who supports the Spick and Span show because y'all bought this thing for us. And it just changed everything. I don't even need the mic or the extra camera that we have. The FaceTime camera on these brand new computers and the microphones they have work just fine. I mean, it is nice to have, like, this is the cool look nowadays, is to have the microphone really cool. Yeah.
That sounds really good, though.
Nice.
I mean, like, everything just changed right there.
I would agree, definitely.
Yeah,
torqued over.
Oh,
and
shit,
he's gone again.
But no, you just need to stick with it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. That's what you really need, right? And then obviously, like Marcel and Tyler said, everybody said, just Google and YouTube, right? As you get better at it or you feel more comfortable with it, just start upgrading your gear. Right? Get a little bit better. Add something to it. But don't go balls in.
Don't go
right
by the
away.
force on your first weekend of practice, first weekend ever playing paintball.
Exactly.
You gotta wait until like maybe your
You gotta
fourth
shoot the
weekend
tippy
playing
first, man. You gotta get the
paintball.
tipping in. You gotta shoot the tippy.
100%. All right. Coach Gray?
I just talked to as many people as I could who were doing it already. And then, of course, Google and a lot of the shit Ryan has already said. But I don't have like mixing boards or any of that. I literally have a mic plugged into my computer, and then we used StreamYard. And StreamYard kind of uploads it where it needs to go. You know, we do have to manually put it into YouTube and then Spotify. But once you put it into Spotify, you know, you can attach all the accounts and it goes out. So it makes it pretty simple. But yeah, we didn't spend much money at all. I bought a 4K camera for like $50 and this Shure mic, and that was it. Off we went.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how easy it is to actually get up and running with the technology today. And it sounds great. You know, it sounds really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think Ryan did bring up a good point there with like the type of content it is. Like I've made both. I've made the longer form stuff, the shorter form stuff. And look, if you can't find 2 hours in your week to chat with someone, then maybe just content creation isn't the type of thing that, you know, you should be doing. But that doesn't mean you can't do art. Like maybe it's something else. I just mean in the fact that like it is a very easy thing to do. And honestly, I love the fact that it keeps me connected with, you know, my two other hosts on the show. We have to have a reason to come together and chat for 2 hours every single week. It's a cool little touching point that, you know, it's been happening for 80 weeks in a row now.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I think the biggest thing that I want to emphasize is that it requires like next to no financial investment to start up. Like everything that you already have is good enough to get started. Like everything that I was using, I already had, just like earbuds, and you know, I already had a webcam because, you know, we were in the Zoom life for a while, and then you know, apps like OBS, Discord, streaming it to YouTube. Actually, I was at first, for probably my first like 20 or so episodes, I was streaming it on Twitch Live, which is also another free streaming platform. And then I just went to YouTube directly, but like everything was free until I wanted to make it better. And I wanted to like kind of commit a little bit harder. So yeah, it requires very little financial investment. I mean, right now I'm using the stuff that I would say is a financial investment, or just the microphone, and then I use Podbean, which I just upload it to Podbean, and then that Podbean publishes the audio only versions to Amazon and Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It just makes it a little bit easier for me. And there's other stuff, like if you want it to do all of your social media posts for you, you can do that there too. But again, like not a requirement to financially like kind of buy in there. You can do all of that for free. And
yes, sir.
Yeah, one person here in the chat is Cooper Harrison, little Cooper.
Hey,
Yeah,
young
Cooper
Cooper, let's
Shot me in the
go.
back.
Yeah, he's
Well,
Cooper
you
made
better-
me get a major because I didn't feel that, and I got a red like 2 bunkers later, so I'm pretty sure it was him. Shout out, Cooper. What's up, man?
Cooper's been killing it lately. We actually just won an event together this past weekend. So yeah, he asks, what is y'all's favorite thing about podcasting?
Mine is just being able to get so many unique perspectives and just these different insights that maybe I would have never been able to think of or even, you know, ponder. But because I've had a really thoughtful conversation with someone, you have a new perspective. That would be mine.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of mentioned it previously there, just being able to, you know, kind of have that constant chat with your, you know, hosts, but also just meeting new people, you know, guys that I probably never would have a chance to sit down and talk with for 2 hours, but now I get to because of my show. And so I get to ask them some questions that, you know, maybe they're not used to or not familiar with, but it's cool. You know, you get to see them in that different light. And yeah, so I really enjoy that aspect of it.
And hanging with my dog, March. Shout
Let's
out to
go,
March.
T.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I threw it under the bus, Tyler. Sorry about that, bro.
Yeah,
No.
honestly, I agree. Like the coolest part has been, you know, we get to have conversations with our friends on a weekly basis, you know, and that doesn't really happen too often. We're often just texting each other. It's rare people even use the phone to call people, you know, nowadays. We get to get pretty in depth on some high level paintball stuff. That's definitely interesting. I certainly think it's helped me become a better player. We've had, you know, great minds in the game. We've had high level coaches on the podcast. We've had, you know, a very well-versed and well-rounded group of individuals on the show. And I think there's something to learn from almost anybody. So the conversations have been motivating. They've been inspirational. They've been kind of a source of knowledge too, you know? So yeah, I mean, it's been one of the greatest things in my paintball adventure, I gotta say.
You know, when we're at events, we don't have, it's rare that you can find an hour and a half or 2 hours to sit down and connect with somebody. And having someone on the podcast just allows you to really get them captive and have really good conversations. So it's been, you know, the people we've had on, it's been a lot of fun just getting to know more about them. And of course, we learn a ton every time we have an episode, you know, just picking brains that are, you know, participating at a high level in this thing just makes us better.
100%. Boys, Christian, I hate to do this, but I did only have about 30 minutes. I tried to stay a little bit longer. The lady's here. She's been waiting out front. So I got to go let her in and get going for dinner. But thank you for having me on. And shout out to all the content creators and podcasters and all the amazing shows that are in here.
For sure. I mean, thank you so much for the time that you were here for. Yeah, go have fun.
Of course. All right, guys. Have a good night.
Talk to you later, Bush.
All right. Yeah. Just one thing I want to add is just the amount of people that I've gotten to meet through this show has been amazing. I know, Tyler, you and Marcelo have had professional athletes, rock stars, like people outside of the game entirely have been coming on your show. I've had not just people in Texas, but you know, guys like Ryan Hoskinson or Christian Woodmansey, who played briefly with Energy Elite, but he's also like, you know, this all-star, you know, Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy. You know, other industry people like the guys at Kinetic, you know, people that I wouldn't have met otherwise. And I think the other thing that, you know, maybe not everybody else gets to see are the conversations that happen before and after recording. Those are some of like the best conversations that I've had with some of these individuals that I would have just never met otherwise.
Absolutely.
You know, it's funny you say that now, because out of a lot of our guests we've had on From the Sidelines, everyone takes off right away. Christian's one of the only people who stayed around for like 20 minutes and hung out with us and chatted. So yeah, it makes sense why you say that now. Yeah, we had a good time over there.
I think I was on for like an hour or two actually after the show.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I vaguely remember your girl coming behind you and being like, "All right, can we go now, please?"
Yeah, she's been very, very patient with this. Greenspan, you have anything to add that on your favorite thing about podcasting?
Yeah, you know, I just like being able to reach out to everybody. You know, share a little bit of just time, like you said. I think Ryan, you hit the nail on the head. I think when you were on our show, and just kind of what everybody's been talking about is just kind of catching up with your buddies. Because oftentimes you don't get a chance to really chat with anybody. And Marcelo mentioned it too. It's like too many people are texting these days. I don't know. Content creation is really good. It's important, you know, to keep this going, because when we did it, when we started it, it wasn't really a thing. Like a lot, like paintball didn't have it.
Yeah.
No, there wasn't. So like, honestly, I don't know. I could be wrong, but like, Ty and Marcelo and Kyle and I kind of like kicked this off, and thanks to you know, BKI to really kind of gave us the nudge. None of us knew what we were doing, but it's such a great way to get everybody going. And I mean, Maddie obviously had a hand in it because he was doing or is doing Go Sports and everything. So like he was the only voice in paintball really. So it's I don't know. I think it's just important. I just personally think it's important. So I also enjoy it, you know.
And you get sushi.
Be fun thing. Sushi. And now one of the biggest sponsors for the Spick and Span show just you know threw down a box of sushi every once a month. Dude, that's as good as it gets.
Yeah, baby.
Maybe one of the better sponsorship deals I've heard of.
That's it. That's as good as it gets, man. Tune in on Tuesday. Watch us chow.
For sure. And actually, since we're on it, you know, I'm going to skip around on our list of questions here for a bit. So, one, and this question is actually brought to us by Bioworks IV, who's going to be doing IV hydration at NXL Vegas, and they're doing house calls as well. So if you're, you know, if that sounds like something that you need, if you want that little extra bit of energy going into Sunday, you know, hit them up. You know, I've got the phone numbers that I'll be posting on social media as well. So one of the first questions that I get, like, especially from family members, whenever they ask me about the podcast, is if I make any money from doing it. So what are y'all's strategies as far as like merchandise, monetization, things like that, sponsorships even? Let's go with Greenspan.
The merch schlep is a thing, dude. Ty and March, dude, good work, man. You guys do such a good job with the branding of everything and making sure that people are out there. And I mean, I see what you got. You got every question sponsored by someone. It's so you guys are doing it. I wouldn't expect to start a podcast and then sign a $300 million deal with Spotify anytime soon. But definitely inside industry stuff. Sponsorship's a tricky one. It's tough. I don't think that anybody would want to start this with the expectation that it's going to be like something that they're going to, because then you're doing it for the wrong reason, right? That there's no passion in it if you're just like, I'm going to do this because I want to get rich. Because then you have this preconceived notion of where it might be and how it should be and where it's supposed to be, and then you're not hitting these milestones, and then you're going to just be over it. You got to do this for the right reasons, and that's just because you love to do it, or it's fun to do, or you just kind of like to be in front of a camera. And actually, that's another good point. Is I think that it's important that everybody, even if you don't send the info out, it's probably good if you just watch yourself talk and just see if you can talk and hold a conversation by yourself, talking to imaginary people out there, because that's an important skill set to have in life. And then if you are good at it, next thing you know, that's when the big bucks start rolling in.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, we
go for it, Ty.
Go ahead, Ryan. I was just gonna say, we never
people.
we never started our show.
And then both of you guys talk.
The classic.
We never started our show with any. That was never a thought at all. Zero thought went into, are we going to make money on this thing? It's all about the love of paintball, really. And it doesn't matter what you love. If you love whatever, if you love carving pumpkins, or if you love Pokemon cards, or if you love anything, there's a facet that you can dive into. And there's hundreds of thousands of people out there that love that thing too. And you guys can connect on those avenues. So you just have to really care about what you're talking about. And I guess if you are going to monetize, the way to do it is you got to build a strong brand. You have to really build a culture and a community of people that care about the mission that you're on. And then through that, you might be able to create, like, we have shirts and hats that we provide, and we're going to be actually at the WCPPL for the first time ever with a booth for event number 1 out there. So if you're going to Dub C, we'll see you out there. And you just have to get creative and really grind. I mean, I can't even tell you how many hours we've put into, thinking about our projects, thinking about just creative ways that we can connect. And you got to just get super creative and have fun with it and be passionate about what you love. Whatever it is, just dive in. And like I said earlier, just go for it. Follow your heart, and I swear you're going to enjoy that journey. You're going to enjoy that more than anything you would ever do in your life, because it's what you resonate with. So don't, a lot of times we go against ourselves because we're told this is right, that's right, and it doesn't fit the mold of who we are. But if you just do what you love, and you might have to work 2 jobs or something like that to get to where the thing you love is what you do mostly. But at some point, if you work hard enough and you believe hard enough, it'll happen.
Yeah, no, that's a very good, way to put it. And I think even kind of looking at that mindset a little differently, even if once you do start to make a little bit of revenue from your show, let's say you've been at it for a couple of years, you have attracted some sponsors, majority of that time for us, it just goes right back into the show, whether that's paying for, designers, like shout out Yosh Designs. He's a talented guy, but I want to pay him for his work. I'm not just going to be like, hey bro, you're my friend, do some stuff for me. No, he needs to also have his job. So yeah, the podcast does not make any of us our bill money, does not make any of us our rent money, at least on our show. I don't know about you guys over there, but no, it's definitely something you have to love. And then, yeah, there is an opportunity for, some of that revenue to come back. But really, I mean, it's just been natural for us to put that right back in and try to make a cooler and better product, and, something that we're proud of. Because I think at the end of the day, that's really, that's what the addiction is here, like anything, paintball is an addiction for people. It's, why do I want to come here every week? I want to make a good show. I want to make people laugh. I want to get a DM that says, yo man, that show was awesome for this reason or this reason or this reason, and so that's what the addiction is, I would say. Yeah, it's a good way to put it, I guess.
And thank you to everybody, all the sponsors that support all these shows. Thank you. Thank you for supporting paintball and supporting these journeys that we're all on.
100%. Coach?
And the viewers.
Yeah, and the viewers, absolutely, man. Thank you for everybody that tunes into all these programs. There's so many paintball programs, and that's what we need. We got to keep boosting paintball. We need as much paintball, as many programs as possible.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to, we got a couple guys in the chat. Lastro, he's telling me I have to buy my co-host a car. I will not be doing that. That's an inside joke. The podcast company he works for just purchased him a car. So that's where he's saying we all got to get to at one point. That's going to be a long way, buddy. Hope we can get there. And, with your support, maybe we'll be on our way.
For sure. Coach, what do you got to add there?
Yeah, we're so new. Like we haven't really thought about monetization. We did just get our first show sponsor that signed a year deal with us, but it's never really been the focus to try to monetize, really. I mean, we will at some point, but the reality for us is it's just that really wasn't the reason to start it. If that comes, that's great. If not, that's okay too. I have a real job,
And I love the last episode you did with Rye. I think I said that off there, but really spectacular job you guys are doing.
For sure.
Thank you. Yeah, he was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
man.
And I know as far as like the revenue streams or the monetization, we all have like pretty different strategies. Like I know I like myself and Moffitt, we both go like the Patreon route, where if you're a subscriber on Patreon, Tyler, you guys do that too. Yeah. You might get access to like a community, or in my case, like, sponsored questions and pre-roll ads. I know Greenspan, y'all do like a lot of like giveaways and things like that. And then also kind of the YouTube subscriptions where they get like emotes and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And for the coaches show, I know y'all's structure might be a little bit different, since I think you're technically under the Go Sports umbrella, right? So you're
No, we're like, our show goes on to the Major League Paintball YouTube, but we don't have anything to do with Go Sports.
Okay, gotcha.
We're allowed to use their content without getting smacked around a little bit. Yeah, we don't have anything to do with those guys.
For sure. Yeah, I think that, but the main idea here is that just focus first on having a good product, and then everything else will come.
I want to kind of piggyback too on what Greenspan said, because he's right on. Like, you got to make shit that you like. Like, if you're going into it thinking like you're gonna get the same thing that Moffitt just said, and you're gonna get all these texts and messages about how much people love you and love your show, that's just not the way. You got to do what you like. And if you're going to find a niche, you're going to find a group that does dig it. It just may take a little while, but you got to do what you like. It doesn't matter if it gets 1 million views right off the bat, because number one, it's not gonna, and it is going to be slow, but just do the shit that you enjoy. And then it's just passion.
Oh, a very good way to put this. No one's going to listen to your first 10 episodes. Just have that in the back of your mind. Because that's honestly, that's how we started. We just said, no one's going to listen, just do them. Because really, at the end of the day, that's what it is. People, once they start seeing that number get higher and higher, they're like, oh, okay, these guys are doing something. They're sticking to it. Maybe I'll go check it out as well. So I do think that's kind of the psychology of wanting to click on the bigger number.
Yeah, definitely. So this question here, let's get to this one right here. So this one's brought to us by BemRap. So one of the first kind of big decisions that a lot of people think about is coming up with a name for your show and coming up with a good logo. So how did each of you decide on that? And then if you eventually went through any rebranding, why did you go through the rebranding, and how did you make the decision for the new one? Let's go. I know Greenspan, you're kind of going through that.
I was going to say, I feel like he has to start this one.
Yeah, it's actually funny. I think we everything's been fan submitted, right? We did a little poll. We did like the fans do our logos. Alex drew the funny one, which is like our faces, and just like the cartoony thing. And then I think Eric from Black Ops Paintball did our newest logo. It's just kind of like whatever the fan. We give a lot of control, to be completely honest, to our fan base. And we just said, hey, we're gonna change our name from, I don't even know what we were, live from sunny San Diego when we were on Facebook, because again, we had no idea what we were doing, right? So branding and all that stuff wasn't a thing. And then So we chose Kyle Spicka and Ryan Greenspan. So the Spick and Span show, it's kind of like rolls off the tongue. Unfortunately, Kyle's last name, when you drop the A, seems to be a derogatory term. And we've had to explain it to people because some people have messaged us and been like, that's kind of offensive. And I'm like, dude, it's Kyle's last name. Like, you don't have to watch the show then. Like, I don't care. It's not like if you find anything offensive at any point in time, like, just stop watching. It's fine. Like, it's okay. But we rebranded it because Apple, I was wondering why Apple wouldn't let us onto their podcast site. I couldn't figure it out. The darndest time out of time.
In your name,
I put the
like,
little A at the end and then bingo, we got accepted right away. Now our actual, because we grab the audio and throw it up there, and now we're already in like the top 10% of podcasts. Like right away. So shout out to Apple and their podcasting. But no, it's just the branding thing, man. Again, it's just kind of like, when something looks cool and when something doesn't. Like, Ty, your guys' new logo is badass, dude. That's such a great one because it's something that like no one's gonna like. You go to the grocery store maybe with a Spick and Span shirt on, right? like maybe, but you're not gonna go out like if you go out and have beers in public and you're wearing like every Tuesday live Spick and Span shirt, nonsense. You're gonna be like, you gotta, yeah, you're going just to like get hammered. But like, you want a catchy logo, and like same thing, Play the Game podcast, that's a cool logo and everything, but the new PTG one can be used in so many different facets that you can use it. And Ryan's logo, that's a great one because it's just like it's the perfect all-around logo. You can use it any way you want. Yeah, and if you want to throw out the whole thing, what do you got? The Mafia with the guy and the guns and cigar and whatever you're wearing right now.
This was designed by XXV, the label. Shout out to Diaz down there. He does a lot of our merch now. He's really helped us out with that. But yeah, I mean, him, Yosh Designs, we've kind of started to pick those guys' brains more and more, and trying to get a cool kind of brand image out there.
Yeah. So I mean, you just kind of like just go and look at what you like. Again, just what we were just talking about, Coach Ryan. It's like, go and see stuff that you like, stylize it. And then honestly, we didn't mention this one, but you might not we have great resources, right? Like Tyler's got like his guys. We've got a ton of people on our side of things. And like, I think Ryan, you probably can whip logos up and stuff. But if you're not computer savvy, go onto Fiverr and hire a virtual assistant and you can get a logo done. Actually, now you can do them with AI in like 10 minutes. Right?
I've used Fiverr for our show, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Like there's like a lot of tools out there for people's, and that's one thing that you can do, and just kind of like, hey, I'll pay you $25 to make me a logo, and they'll do 5 logos and just pick one, and change it if you want. But you don't have to be super computer savvy or artistic or anything like that. But do think that think of stuff that you're gonna want to be able to showcase your brand, and then something that's like a little more subtle that is appropriate in public.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I know in Texas there's a lot of graphic designers out there. I've personally used 3 different ones for the show. I've used Yosh Designs. I've used Patrick Simons for the In the Pits Awards. He did all of the graphics for the winners. And then I use another one for the podcast logo, which for me, it was just, hey, I want something that says Texas Paintball. And so it was just state of Texas and a box of pods and a mask. Simple as that. Instantly you can think, oh, that's Texas Paintball right there. So keeping it simple, keeping it as far as the format goes. Does it work in a square? Does it work in a circle? Can you post it pretty much everywhere without having to do weird things with the resolution or the sizing, things like that?
I just went on Canva. I literally got a Canva account, learned how to use it. My 19-year-old daughter showed me how to use it. And then I watched a bunch of videos and started playing around with different things that I thought would look cool in a circle, in a square, things that we could put on social media that would work, and found the one I liked and put it out.
Yeah, we actually used Fiverr for our very first logo, that original PTG logo with me and Marcelo as like cartoon characters. That was all done through Fiverr. So that's a great resource. And like you guys are saying, there's so many resources in paintball that we can use too. Like, let's help boost these other people that are in the industry and get their brands out there as well, and help each other in that regard. The name took us quite a while to come up with. We sat on that for like, I don't know, we were tossing around ideas for at least a few weeks, if not like a month. before we decided on Play the Game, just because it's kind of transcends paintball. It's like, there's this bigger game going on of life, and we're all trying to do our best to manage it. And that's kind of how we came up with the name Play the Game. Obviously, we own Play the Game Paintball and Play the Game Podcast. So getting just involved in spreading the awareness of Play the Game Paintball, I feel like that was a really powerful thing to just get people to go out and play paintball.
Yeah, I mean, good point to touch on that. Our design was done by James Hall over at Island Designs. I know he's done a lot of stuff within the industry. I mean, he's a really good guy. Yeah, so feel free to hit him up for that. But yeah, Fiverr, it's a hidden little gem. The kind of funny story with our name, originally we were From the Sidelines with an S. And when James, when he delivered the logo for us, he dropped the S and just had it From the Sideline. And I was like, well, he did this, for free to kind of help us out. We were getting off the ground, and I was like, I don't want to make him redo it. We're just going to change our name. So it stuck with it. Now we've been From the Sideline the whole time. So I don't even know if I've told that story on our show. That's a hidden little gem for just In the Pits. But yeah, no, shout out to him over there. He's definitely helped us out and kind of getting us up off the ground and running.
Yeah, Island, he's the man. Shout out to James.
Yeah, shout out. All right, so I'm going to skip around here on this a little bit. I know we're kind of already an hour in this, so yeah, let's keep it moving. So this question is brought to us by, let's go this one right here, by Paintball Kumite, which is Colt Roberts' little training regimen. Shout out to Colt, very first guest that I had on this show, helped me get the show off the ground. So let's talk about what I like to call scope creep. So have there ever been any projects or things you maybe felt like you had an interest or wanted to pursue, but maybe it fell outside the umbrella of your show? How did you handle that? Maybe you expanded or did special projects, things like that. Let's start with Tyler on this.
So just so I understand the question, projects outside of the show in regards to just anything?
Right. So an example let's say like Greenspan, I know on your show you did a big fundraiser for Hawaii, maybe something like that. Or I know on my show we ended up holding a joust event at San Antonio X Factor, things like that, just kind of things outside of the normal recording of your podcast.
Yeah, I mean, we're involved in countless charities and fundraisers, just trying to help as many people as possible because everyone reaches out, and anytime that we can, we're donating, jerseys or shirts or anything that we possibly can muster up to just help support and raise funds for these charities and just anybody that needs help in their life. We're all, like I said, we're all a part of this world together, and things are not easy for so many people out there. So this is another great way that we can give back in real life and help people in real time. So it's been one of the greatest blessings of doing the show, is being able to have that connection with so many out there. And I know that we all get the messages and we all go to bat and we all try to help as much as we can, which is a really beautiful thing.
Yep. Moffitt, have you had anything like that on your show come up yet?
Sorry, I had my cough button held down. I've been sitting over here trying to think about it, and we haven't done much in that so far. We've had some ideas and concepts come up for stuff we've wanted to do, but honestly, it's just been funding for it. If it's kind of hard to say I'm going to do something if it's just going to be $500 that we're probably not going to see again, because, well, that's 3 or 4 months worth of revenue for the show. It's trying to figure out the balancing act of, can we give full out to that and still, have the time and effort to do our regular kind of commitment that we already have to our, to our people who show up every week. Every Tuesday they want to have that show downloaded, whether they listen to it then or throughout the week, that's up to them. But they're kind of expecting that at this point. I feel like we've showed that we're going to be there with a new show.
Hold on. I just got to ask this. Does every paintball show in the world do their shows on Tuesday?
Tuesdays. Yeah. we didn't plan it that way. When we just started doing it, we were like, hey guys, Tuesday works. Yeah, we'll show up then. And then like 3 weeks later, I'm watching the Spick and Span show and I'm like, oh, no way. They do their show on Tuesdays too. And then like it's come out now that you guys do it Tuesdays as well. In fact, you guys actually stole a guest from us. We were supposed to have Connor Kelly on, and Connor, instead of letting us know, just, you know, goes over, does the PTG show, and we got a no-show from him. So we miss you, Connor. We'd love to have you on, buddy. Come on, dude. But yeah, so we were like, oh, well, he went on PTG. That's where he went. So yeah.
Oh man,
That's
Connor.
I've talked to him. I've talked to him at NXLs. We've had a face-to-face. Yeah, we're good. But yeah, it's fun to bring that one up.
I absolutely love that kid, man. Connor's so cool.
Yeah,
the best.
Savage.
He is.
Yeah, so
were you gonna say something like Greenspan?
Yeah, Greenspan.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Tuesdays are the days. You know, it's funny because we were doing our shows on Monday for a second, and it was like the schlep of getting back from an event is so tough. And then if you push it onto a Wednesday, you're like usually leaving to events. So like Tuesday is really that sweet spot between like when you can be back. So you can't, like, our schedules. If we're playing on the East Coast, if we're playing in Florida, I'm not home till Monday, right? And so if you get a delay, you're kind of, so yeah, Tuesdays definitely fit the bill. That's kind of makes the most sense for most people out there. But even if you're doing your show kind of whenever, you can kind of record them whenever if it's post production.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like I'm the only one that's occupying the Wednesday nights, but that's just how my class schedule works right now.
Less competition for the airway. So yeah,
there we go. Yeah,
I'll take it. All right. Anybody else about, you know, kind of extra projects or things like that you want to add?
I mean, I've got a scope thing from extra projects, but we have scope problems every now and again with like conjecture and rumor. We try to stay away from those things and leave. I mean, the other guys do that and they do a really good job with it. And so we kind of try to stay away from those things. Like we all had Todd Adamson on, you know, and he like talked in such like this vague way. You know, we finally, like, before he came on, I was like, look, man, you're going to have to say something. Like, you can't just like be, you know, talking in all of this like hyperbole and all this vague, like, you're going to have to say something. Otherwise, like, there's no point in us wasting, you know, an hour and a half to just sit here and talk. And anyway, he said a few things, but it was still pretty vague. But we do try to stay away from those types of conversations. We want it to be real. We want it to be, if it can be data driven, we really would rather it be that, because then there's no BS around it. Like, it is what it is. But we do try to stay away from those things. And Mike and I tried to be on a different day. That's why our show airs at 10 a.m. is so like people in Europe can watch it and those kind of things, and to try to stay away from the other podcasts. They do a fantastic job, and we want viewers to be able to participate in as much content as they can take in. So that's why our show kind of launched at 10 a.m. was because it was just it was an open time, and 10 a.m. is 4 o'clock in the afternoon in London. And so we're like, all right, well then, you know, it's 4, 5, 6, you know, across Europe. So that maybe that time makes sense. But yeah, nobody wants to sit down for 2 hours and talk after coming home from an event, and then you're leaving on Wednesday to go to a tournament. Like, it's just, Tuesday is the only day that works.
Yeah.
Sure.
Look at that. We're all on the same page. Look at this.
Yeah, we all agree about something.
Creators unite.
Love it.
We need an extra day in the week.
Definitely. All right. So this next question, let's go ahead and do this one by Mariachi Aguilas de Oro. So what are some challenges or adversity that y'all have faced individually during your shows or during your runs, and how have you gone about dealing with them? So let's start with Coach Gray on this.
Yeah, I guess not really answering questions, like talking in circles and then having to go back and ask the question multiple times, you know, to get them like to refocus. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, like our guests do stick around after the show. We have like a little green room area they kind of go down into and then sit and talk for an hour a lot of times after the show. But we have guests every now and again who, when we'll ask a question, they kind of do a circle and then have to ask the question again, and sometimes even a third time to get them to actually answer. And that's a challenge, right? But we do kind of have it's not necessarily a script, but we have certain things we want to touch on with data collection and things like that when we ask questions. And sometimes especially the coaches that don't really collect data. They like to talk around it, and then finally we're like, okay, so you don't collect data. That's okay if you don't. Like, just say you don't do it, and we'll move on to something else. But that's probably the most challenging thing sometimes, getting guests just to answer a question.
Yep. I think just something I'll add in there is depending on who the guest is, because I have like a wide range of people. Like if I'm having a kid or maybe a younger, teenager, 18, 19, 20-year-old, then my questions are usually going to be a little bit less wordy and more direct, because I know their tendency is going to either be like yes or no answers, or, short one sentence answers, things like that. So I'll do a little bit more elaborating just to see, hey, this is exactly the type of answer that I'm looking for from you. Or if I know I'm going to have someone who maybe is a little bit more lengthy in their answers, let's say, then maybe they get less questions throughout the episode. Maybe they'll get like 8 or 9 or 10 versus 15, 16, 17. Yeah, I think other than that, the only like adversity, I guess, is for me the biggest one would be last second cancellations from guests is definitely a big challenge, especially because just my style, I'm not a current events or anything like that. I've never done a solo show. So the answer to that is just being organized. I have a whole list of people that I'm eventually wanting to get on the show, and if there's a last second cancellation, I just go down the list and say, hey, are you available? Are you available? Or can we do it the next night? Things like that. So just organization. Let's head to Moffitt.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, jumping off that, obviously guest canceling, that, it sucks, but it's one of the things you got to roll with, if you're bringing someone in. That is the nice thing about having a couple other hosts. We have 3 hosts, so when, a guest cancels, we can still do a show, pretty well. We can find topics and points of discussion to, get into. I would say, obviously the biggest challenge we've had is just, we've had people who didn't have the same level of commitment, and, it was trying to start out with them and eventually seeing like, hey man, we got to go. It's a real quote that one of our ex-hosts said to us. I'm sorry, I can't make it for a recording Thursday. It's Thursday Night Football. And that's when we all kind of knew, all right, bro, you don't really give a shit about this the way we all do. So thank you. We appreciate you. But we're going to have someone else come in and take your spot. So that's definitely been a challenge, because then it was, well, who's going to take that spot? Like who's going to understand what this show is and what we're doing? And luckily one of our teammates, he listened to all the show, he listened to all the shows so far. So he was kind of into it. He's listened to podcasts his whole life. So he was able to jump right in, and, shout out Brando. We love him. He's done a great job being a, co-host of the show. But yeah, it's you got to be flexible sometimes. People all have our own individual schedules. And so you got to kind of make all those come together for at least 2 hours. And that could be pretty difficult.
Definitely. Tyler?
Yeah, I guess the biggest difficulties is being able to have a good show every single week. Curating great content all the time is a difficult task. And you have to really put a lot of effort into it, more than most people think. And it's something that's tedious. And then the equipment, sometimes you have equipment failures and these things that you can't foresee happening. And you gotta be good at navigating that on the spot, like in real time. And that's a really difficult thing to do. But once again, if you just get involved with it, you're going to have your trials and tribulations, just like anything you do in life. So just start doing it. The things that are going to be problems will show themselves, and you'll learn how to navigate it over time. And then just stay creative and try to curate the best content that you possibly can.
And I think it helps to listen to podcasts. Like since I was about 10 or 11, I've listened to this art form and I really enjoy it. And, kind of hearing people have conversations, it's been my whole life. So, it's easier for me to kind of get ideas about what would work well on that audio format. If you've never listened to them before, that might be a little harder for you, like that's just a good example of not just checking out our paintball shows, but like, go check out Kill Tony or something. Go check out a Joe Rogan show. Like, why do those shows work? Why are they so successful? Why do people want to tune in every single week to see what's up? And, maybe you don't have, these triple A list celebrities to pull in every week. that's fine. But is their conversation good? Like, do they have, young Jamie's got stuff to pull up? So now whenever anyone on our show talks about stuff, I'll go in the edit and add that visual. So that way our audience can see and kind of have that full picture of what we're talking about. Little things like that you can take and pull away from those really successful shows.
Absolutely. Ryan, Greenspan?
Yeah, I mean we're riddled with it with all sorts of who know what, anything can happen at any point in time, in this setup here. I mean, we're like tethered on like 5 Wi-Fi mesh things that like get internet down here. I mean, it just kind of goes back. Like we have problems, but we started with and have kind of always been just a conversation between Kyle and I. It's usually like a 80-20 type of conversation, but as far as participation goes, but we've been introducing guests more regularly, but if someone cancels, it's not a big deal. Or if they double schedule, I think Todd Adamson didn't even know whose show was who when he was talking to us, and he's like, "You guys you're doing the one with Tyler?" And I'm like, "No, we got the other one." But luckily, we moved ours to Wednesday. But like every so often,
Boomers, am I right?
Yeah, that's right. I know it. I hear you. Like we'll just kind of do a show periodically. We'll throw it on a Wednesday because there's a scheduling conflict. It's not a big deal. Again, like I think one of the best things about our audience is kind of like they've grown to expect it. So it's like, we've been extremely like consistent as far as on a weekly basis. So if it moves to a Wednesday, but
it's a version of Stockholm syndrome for sure. Because I show up for every week, and dude, they'll take anything. You guys can show up with like 4 pixels on screen and with the worst audio, and you're will be like, "This is great, we love it, they're doing awesome."
I want to say like, and
the value of that, just showing up is a part of it.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, dude, it is a little stressful when something goes down because you're like, dude, what just happened? There's like an update to OBS that didn't like the computers don't now talk to each other, and you're like, how is this happening right now? Like, why does it,
and it's always when you go live. It'll work for the hour that you're testing it beforehand. The second you push the button.
My microphone, we were literally talking, and then all of a sudden, it was my turn to talk, and it just decided not to talk anymore. You know what I mean? Like, what is going on here? Like, it doesn't happen to the big dog, does it? But no, I mean, you just got to roll with the punches. It's not a big deal. Like, you can't take things too seriously. If someone cancels on you, just either make it up or just talk. I mean, that's why I'm saying like. I know not everybody is as comfortable with it throughout like the universe, but you can literally pull shit out and just kind of talk. There's always something current to talk about. Every so often there'll be like this weird little long pause, and we'll be like, "Yeah, what are you watching right now?" You know what I mean? Like we'll just throw something down. We don't have anything. I've got a notepad that literally has like, "Don't forget to thank the sponsors." On it, and then like where I write who wins the prizes, and then I take notes as we're going. And
those are great shows when you could do like a tier list or something like that. Like throw in some weird piece of content that's going to take an hour of your show up, and you can just, all right, this is the tier list.
And
I mean, the 20 teams right now.
We've had some success lately with like doing the little AI generated stuff, which is fun. Like those people love that stuff, and it's just again stay relevant. If things don't work, like we've got a lot of redundancies, right? And I think that everybody does, right? Like Ty, you couldn't get for some reason the video wasn't working. You're like, I'll just use my phone. I'm gonna log out, log back in. Like we're so good at like this. It gets you good at like thinking on the fly. It's actually a great like if you can do it under stress, like you're doing a live show and you're like, what happened to this? And you're like, okay, guys, don't worry about it. We're doing like we're doing it live. Like the screen went out. I think on one of ours, and it was just audio. Like. We're good at doing that sort of stuff, and it's stressful. But like at the end of the day, what are you gonna do? Just roll with it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love the little microphone things. I mean, just sometimes just fun moments, and honestly, good content just falls into your lap like that. So you just gotta take it on the chin and then post it later. All right, so I'm gonna. So on the script that I sent y'all, I'm going to highlight some stuff in red just because we're getting to an hour and a half here. I just want to respect everybody's time and also hopefully get a question or two from the chat before we end it here. So one thing I do want to talk about, and this question is going to be brought to us by Hydra and by 71 Designs. So let's talk about social media strategies or strategies in general that you use to help grow and promote your content. So what all you got going on? Let's start with Coach Gray.
I mean, we just use Instagram and Snapchat, or Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and we just throw no Snapchat. We just throw reels up. So part of our relationship with Major League Paintball is we have access to Jake Jones, and he puts all the reels and everything together for me and uploads everything into a folder. So I'm a little spoiled from that perspective. I don't have to do all the back end things that these guys have to do, which is really helpful. And then I do, like, Sunday night, I sit down and get everything set up for the entire week through the Meta Business Suite. And then just, tag the people that we're interviewing, tag their teams, or that they're guests on the show. It'll change a little bit as we move forward, how we're going to use social media. We are going to do some live things through Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We're doing a virtual field walk the day the layout comes out on Wednesday. And there'll be a live for that where, people can ask questions, and it's only going to be like 45 minutes because Mike and I both have team meetings right after that. So, but it'll be the first one of those we do. So we are going to use social media to do some go live stuff. We're also going to do some go live things at the events, where we'll have some one-on-ones really quick with coaches after matches if we can. Sometimes that gets a little challenging, especially if it didn't go so well. Coaches don't really want to talk, and I get it because I don't either. I just want to be left alone and yell at my guys, and go think about what I can change, right? But nonetheless, it's social media is the best worst thing that's ever happened. It's great to be able to connect, and it's awful also to have to connect sometimes because of the shit you have to see. But I don't know, honestly, if it really helps us grow as much as it is just get content in front of people.
For sure. Greenspan?
Yeah,
Sorry, Moffitt.
I was trying to filter there. No, go for it. That works.
I had a pretty good social media following to begin with, so we just kind of piggybacked off of that. And we're like, I hate social media. I hate it, and I don't like the word hate very much.
We just talked about that.
Try not to use that word often.
For someone who's hating it, really, you hate it, but then you rename your whole team to San Diego Business Suite.
San Diego Business Suite. That was the biggest social media blitz ever in the history of. That was a great branding right there. And I click on all those links. I mean, dude, I just.
Nigerian princes.
But I do understand the value of it. Not just like, I'm not talking about monetary value. I think there's value in it for everybody. Just being able to connect with like the entire sphere of paintball and outside of that sphere. So, and I've actually definitely taken a big step back from it lately. But promoting stuff is important, right? Because if people don't know what you're doing, then they're not going to know. So we've actually gotten a little bit better at it from the social media standpoint. Because it's Kyle and I running the show, and I've got 5 social media accounts that I also manage, and it's just we kind of put stuff up. But again, it's one of those things. All of these are word of mouth, right? We love the fact that everybody talks about it, and they're like, "Did you hear this one? Did you hear that one?" And so that's where we're at. We're not going to really take ads out to do stuff, and we're not going to post and promote that sort of thing. I think that it's just kind of the community. If they like it, and then they'll go for it. Again, we'll just kind of work at that angle. But we post about 30 minutes before the show goes live if we remember, which is not good for traction, by the way. Like you don't want to do it at that point in time, because by the time people see it, the show's been over. That's our marketing team. I got shit going on. I got a kid,
Yeah.
Well, for sure. I kind of took this a different way. I know you see in there you have some stuff about like a script or a format for your shows. I mean, I have a note card that I bring to every single show, just a little thing I rip off, so that way I have it. But this is our one for Dan. So, I mean, it's really bad handwriting, but it just has like our couple topics. We had Super Bowl, so I have like a couple numbers for that I wanted to talk to him about. We also have, the other random things that we were going to bring up. Plus, my little reminders for myself, like the stuff I say at the end of the show every week. I have it down here just in case, as I'm saying it, it's been 2 hours of talking and I forget what I'm saying. I can be like, Patreon, yeah, head over there, check that out. It's good to have those little reminders. We also have at the end of our show, we do a cool guy of the week and a code word of the week. So Brandon will give us our cool guy of the week. So some guy that he's found, either a Twitter video, a TikTok, something that he thought was funny during the week, we'll drop that in there. And then Hatch will put out our code word, which is just, hey, if you've listened to the show all the way to this point, our special code word. And when you send us a DM, you could be like, hey man, banana socks or whatever the hell it is, but then that way we know, okay, you stuck around for 2 hours. You said, what's up? I want to, pick your brain. Did you like the show? Was the show good? Was it bad? How was the guest? Did you like what we asked him about? Is there something we missed that maybe you want to hear more from? So little things like that you can do to kind of have those moments of familiarity in your show. A certain kind of topic thing that'll happen an hour or so through that people know they can check into.
Yeah, social media is imperative. And for each show that I do on PTG, Marcelo doesn't do any notes, but I have a piece of printer paper. And one of the coolest things that I think I have from the show is I have a printer paper from all 240 episodes with all the details of like everything from all the shows over the last 4 years. So it's like this cool archive that I've kind of built for myself. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I only have 80, but yeah, it's getting there.
and it's super cool. Like sometimes I'll just go and like dip into some of these pieces of paper and look at what we talked about or different concepts. But definitely helps to have some way of staying focused during a long scale show, because it's easy to get swept away on different topics. In regards to social media, it's imperative for success. If you're trying to build a brand, you really have to think about how you're going to build your social brand as well. And you've got to be savvy with, trying to do gimmicky things that work on social media. That's, once again, it's like this system that you have to try to play into to get into the algorithm, because there is a lot going on inside of the system that is social media. We're going to be at the Dub Cs doing like on the ground media as well. So I'm really excited to track divisional paintball. I want to get stories from divisional coaches, players, people who support paintball, just families, just having those kinds of grassroots stories I think are going to be really cool. And then obviously for social media, you got to have, every single platform you need to be a part of and have an account at least, and try to post as often as you can. Obviously there's the main ones, but you need to, try to be a part of as many platforms as you can if you're trying to grow that brand.
Absolutely. Yeah. For me, the biggest thing was tag everybody in everything that you do. So if it's Facebook and Instagram, I actually have, so similar to y'all's notes, I have it on Google Drive, is every single script from every single episode. And then on top of that, I have a template where I can just copy and paste and then just, change a few questions here and there. And for me, that's mostly just to remember to say every sponsor's name. But on top of that, it kind of gives me like the structure is somewhat similar for every show. And then same thing for anytime I post on Facebook or Instagram, I have a copy paste. Hey, thank you to all of our sponsors, and this is all of their handles, and it makes it super fast. But yeah, that's my big thing, is just tag everybody. If you have a guest coming on, find their Instagram handle, tag them in that. Instagram a couple of months ago came out with this feature where you can invite them to be a collaborator on your post. And when you do that, it makes it look like it was actually posted from their account, and basically combines like your account, their account, anybody who's a collaborator, hits all of those viewers' feeds. So that's the biggest one for me.
That's a tool I use every day on the Instagram. Mm-hmm. Like all the posts from the sidelines are connected to my account, the other host's account. Like it's just an easy way to kind of get that out there, to more eyes really quickly.
Yeah. The one thing that sucks about doing the collaborator thing is you can't, whenever you're doing one post through the business suite and trying to do all of your accounts at once, you can't do the collaborator thing. So you have to remember to go back into Instagram separately and then re-upload the post and then invite people to be a collaborator, because you can't do it after the fact.
Or just upload from Instagram. I don't know. That's an easy workaround too.
Right. For sure. All right, so we're gonna skip down here to this question brought to us by Get That Shot, who is a pro media member, and he actually just got his drone license, or he's gonna get it at here next week. So he's gonna be flying drones at USXBL and at the Lone Star Major.
Nice.
So, do y'all have any final tips, suggestions, words of warning for anyone out there taking notes on how to start their own shows? Let's Tyler, you want to start us off here?
Yeah. Be thoughtful with the name that you choose and the brand that you're Ryan immediately.
Don't put your face on the logo, stuff, just simple, easy stuff like that. No derogatory terms in your names. Let's see. Get equipment that works. I don't know. Watch the Spick and Span show for a couple episodes. About 10 minutes is all you can take, and then just don't do what they're doing.
Yo, dude, honestly, your show is an inspiration to so many, and all of us here, man. Like we're doing the best we can, every one of us, and it's an amazing thing. Like we all care so much about this game, and we're giving it our all on so many levels. So don't be afraid to take chances. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into it, but if you just take it one step at a time and just enjoy the process, and once again, if you're in love with that process, then it's going to make the journey a lot easier. So enjoy what you're doing, and just keep putting one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good stuff there. I was also, kind of adding on to that, know what you kind of which way you want to go from the beginning. Like I know PTG, you guys have always kind of done a very more friendly, show. There is maybe some light cussing here and there, but it's more, everyone can listen to it at any point throughout the show. I mean, we cuss on our show. We tell bad jokes, we tell stuff that kids may not, should hear. Majority of our audience is above that age. And that's, we put on all of our podcast platforms that we're an explicit show, but we've done that from the beginning, and our audience knows that, that's what it is. So, if you're kid in your car, maybe don't listen to From the Sidelines, listen to Play the Game for a second. And then, when they get out at school, you can turn us back on. But it's just setting that up so people kind of know what to expect when they come to your, feed every couple weeks or so.
Yes. And we have our set for over 18 as well. I mean, it's, we're definitely, we try to.
I was just saying, you guys do a better job than we do for sure of being like, hey, young ears may hear this at some point.
Hey, keep rocking, man. Let's go.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Sure. Coach?
I just think if you have something to say, then just do it. Just don't, like, somebody mentioned it earlier, like if you want to do it and you're hesitant, like just do it. It's really inexpensive. Just go. Ryan mentioned you can. Greenspan mentioned you can do it on your phone. Just do it. Like if you feel like you have something to say and you think even 10 people would want to hear it, then there's probably thousands that would want to hear it. So just do it. I will say too about the explicit thing, we're really good until we have Joey Blute on the show, and then it's way less good. He is that man. We had to tell him, like, hey, like in the first 90 seconds, you can't curse. You can't drop 5 F-bombs in the first 90 seconds. Like, we need you to, like, can you harness those for at least 5 or 6 minutes? And, of course, he dropped one right away. I'll try. I'm like, all right, man. Thanks, buddy.
It's like a PG-13 movie. He only gets 1 F-bomb per episode. So you got to pick and choose, where do you want to use it?
He is, that's a big part of his vocabulary, that word. he drops it.
Love it. Greenspan, you got any final tips or suggestions?
Yeah, man, I think we covered it, especially earlier. I saw a couple people in the comments who were just jumping in here asking what they missed. You guys missed basically an entire lesson on how to really like find your audience, grow your audience, and begin a podcast about whatever. And that's, I think, what Coach just talked about. But I think that, we covered it. The guy said it. Just run it. Ask Google. If you don't know, dude, don't ask us. Ask Google. That's the smartest person. If I leave you with one life lesson. If you don't know the answer, you don't need to like text somebody. Just ask Google. It'll give you the answer right away on everything. How to start a podcast.
Jeeves still works too. You can go there.
Jeeves might work. You can use DuckDuckGo if you don't want people to learn what you're looking about.
Yeah,
you can get
Bing's
a VPN,
also a
whatever
very
you
good
call,
one.
like whatever you need to do. Ask the Internet has so many resources for you out there.
For sure.
Hey, Goodle.
Hey, Google.
I love it. Yeah. I guess my thing, your technology is going to fail you at some point. So, just remember where your mute button is and all that. Your microphone's going to turn off at some point. Other than that, I mean, aside from the whole publishing content aspect of this and getting views and viewers and followers and all that, you're going to potentially meet a lot of really cool individuals just through doing content creation or podcasting, and those relationships that you might build through whatever you create are, I think, infinitely worth just infinitely more than whatever following, or if you eventually get revenue or monetization, it's the relationships themselves are just worth way more than that. So I wouldn't hesitate to put yourself out there a little bit. And even if you have a show and you're wanting to do a new direction or whatever and it doesn't work out, you know what, that's just one episode. You can always change things. You can always go back or do a completely different direction. It's entirely up to you. So yeah, just
50% of the people on the show might just never come back. You got to figure it out. that's what happened to us.
Well, so yeah, I think that just about does it. I mean, yeah, thank you everybody that's here in the chat. There's a lot of people giving us a lot of love in here. I recognize some regulars from all of your shows, Last Row's in here, Doc's
Last Row,
in here.
Cody Collins, shout out those boys.
Yeah, Texas Menace, a couple of my guys in here as well.
AFG filming too. I met Adon before. He's a good, cool dude.
Yeah, Adon's on actually my divisional team, Texas Titan. Shout out to Adon.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Much love to everybody that tuned in. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So for all of you guys, this one's brought to us by Compete, which is Jell Stewart's brand. Do you have any last shout outs or things you'd like to say before we sign off?
Thank you,
just say,
Christian. Yeah, you're doing a great job, and 87 episodes deep, and that's you've taken 1 week off, and the whole time you've been doing the show, like that's a big milestone for you, and you're 13 episodes away from a big milestone. So, congrats! Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and appreciate you having me on.
Thank you. And I think Mafia is not too far behind me there. I think he's.
Well, I was gonna say we're kind of like brother and sister shows. I'm at 82, and we haven't had a week off yet, but so we're just a couple episodes behind you guys. So it's kind of like we had the idea at the same time, and just press play, just hit the ground running. And yeah, man, you've done a lot of great stuff over here. There's a reason why I wanted to bring you over to our show, kind of connect the two worlds, because I think what you're doing for like the Texas scene in particular is really cool with this podcast. Obviously, we all talk about paintball all over the place, but it's cool that Texas could be like, all right, this is our show. We're gonna talk about everything that's going on in our community here, and that's, like you said, it's a big state, so it's cool to have that.
Definitely. Tyler, got anything else?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody who supports paintball in general, everybody here, all of your programs, and thank you to the PTG fam, everyone that tunes into the podcast. Shout out to everyone supporting Houston Heat, and just on the paintball adventure. Everybody keep working hard. We'll see everyone soon out here in the desert in just a few days. We're not far out from layout drop, so I know everyone's excited, and just keep having fun and playing paintball out there.
Sure. Greenspan, you got anything else?
Well, he's muted again, so.
Uh-oh. Got him.
Am I off?
There we go.
You're on
there we go. You're good now.
Before he starts, I do got to say, shout out to my wife and kids too. Without them and my family, none of this is possible. So thank you to my lovely wife and kids.
Yeah, I appreciate them. I'm in the doghouse big time tonight.
Me too, right
two
now.
nights in a row.
Yeah. Last night was Camille's birthday. I did a 2.5 hour episode. Back to back. So yeah, man. Thanks to everybody who supports it. That's it, man. You guys all get it. They know.
I've been married 27 years. You shouldn't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
I'm gonna write that down in my notebook. Maybe one of these days I'll pull that
Yeah,
one
I'm
out.
writing
Reading one of the pages of notes.
Yeah, in your
I'm
notes,
gonna have
don't do
more
that.
than podcast notes.
Yeah,
All
don't
right.
do that.
All right, so I think that that just about does it for our show. I know we didn't get to very many of the audience questions, but I just want to shout out to everybody that's listening here live. I do also want to mention one person who was originally scheduled to be on the show with us, Robert Jordan. He does the After the Buzzer podcast, which is on his personal Facebook page every Tuesday. Another Tuesday show there. I think it actually goes live at the same time the Coaches Show drops. So yeah, I just want to shout out to Robert. He was originally scheduled to be on here, but then he over the weekend had to put his mother in hospice care, mother who just turned 90 not too long ago. So yeah, just we're thinking about you, Robert. Yeah, hope you're doing all right.
Yeah.
We wish you the best.
Oh.
Yeah, sending love his way.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
moved my
man.
camera. There we go. I'm back again.
We got you.
Back in the-
We were talking about
Oh,
something
no.
serious, and Greenspan just ruins it all. But I mean, shout out to Robert. Sorry to hear that, man. Hope it goes okay. As do what it can.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, we lost Greenspan here, but I think we're at the end of our show anyway. So I just want to say thank you all so much for tuning in. Go follow each of our guests on Instagram. So that's at spicka&span.show, at thecoachesshow.live, at Play the Game Podcast. Also shout out to Zyzik, who's originally scheduled to be on here. So go follow him at Paintball Nerd, and then follow at FTS_pod. So
We keep it easy.
oh yeah. So what other guests would you all like to see on the show? Be sure to leave a comment down below. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button. This show goes live weekly here on youtube.com/@inthepitspaintballpodcast. Recordings are posted to YouTube, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify the next day. One more shout out to my partner and sponsor tier subscribers on Patreon. FU Athletics, Get That Shot, Paintball Kumite, Compete, Bem Raps, Skull Monkeys Paintball, Hydra, XTPL Events, Mariachi Aguilas de Oro, Podrunners Union, 71 Designs, and Bioworks IV. So we will see you all next week for episode 79. We're going to have Corey Field, who is the new coach for Outlaw Anodizing's semi-pro line for the 2024 season. So we will see you all then. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate you, brother.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Christian. Have a good one, guys.
Peace, boys.
See you guys.